Recently polled my podcast listeners and asked what you want to hear more about. And by far, this was the topic you asked for, balancing work and family. And I hear you. I also deal with this as a working mom of three, but there's hope and there is certainly help. I promise it gets better. And the more we talk about it and we come up with strategies, well, that's when it gets better. My guest today knows this struggle as a mom and as a business owner. In fact, she founded her company after trouble getting her newborn to sleep. You might recognize Tara Williams from her appearance on Shark Tank or from her business, Dreamland Baby. I want to encourage you right now, jump on my Instagram page. There's so much going on there. It's N Tisdall. Also, join my newsletter, which you will find on my website, natalietisdall.com. Here's my interview with Tara Williams. Tara joining me now. And Tara, I love your story. I love how you started your company, but I want to fill people in on how you did that and when you did it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. So I came up with the idea for Dreamland Baby in the summer of 2018. My baby, so I have four kids, two girls and two boys. My baby was 6 months old, waking up every hour and a half, so like a newborn. And we had bought everything, we had tried everything. One night, my husband and I were just watching TV on the couch, had a heavy throw blanket, laid it on top of him, and we noticed he immediately calmed down. And I thought, oh my gosh, he needs a weighted blanket. Like it was just a light bulb moment. So I remember I was so excited. I literally raced to my computer and I got on Google and I typed it in, and only loose blankets for infants came up. And I was like, wait, that's not right. Babies can't use loose blankets until they're 2, and he was 6 months. So I'm like, there's got to be something on Amazon. So then I went on to Amazon, same thing. And they had these like little nest things almost. I think they're popular in Asia, where they're basically in a cocoon. Again, definitely not what we consider American Academy of Pediatrics safe. So my mother-in-law is a master seamstress, and I called her and I very clearly had the idea in my mind. It was essentially a sleep sack with a weighted blanket laid over it, but sewn into it. So the baby could wear the garment without any possibility of it riding on baby's face or suffocation or anything along those lines. So I did some research on percent of body weight, and she ordered all the materials. About 2 weeks later, we got her prototype, and my son slept for 12 hours.
Wow.
It was truly like an incredible sleep transformation. We thought it was a fluke. We're like, there's no way. The next day, he took about a 3-hour nap. He had only been sleeping in like 30-minute intervals at that point. He had colic. Like he was just constantly overtired and crying literally all day. So he got a great nap. And then that night he slept through the night, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is for real. So right away, I started telling people just more that like I was sleeping, and everyone said, how? Like what, because they had heard me for 6 months complaining about this devil child. And I told them about the sleep sack idea. And, I got a couple of responses. So one was, that product has to already exist. Like, how does that not exist? This is 2018. Weighted blankets at this point were really becoming
a big deal for adults. Yeah.
Adults, kids, and even dogs. So there's Thundervest for dogs, huge markets for these, a lot of people using them. And so that was the first thing. And then the second thing, I had people saying, can your mother-in-law make one for me or my sister or my, friend? And then the third was people saying that would have helped me and my baby. I had stacked heavy blankets on them. I did unsafe practices. We, co-slept, but we didn't want to. All these ways to add that extra like external tactile feel for baby. And so it was just such an overwhelming, everybody thought it was a great idea. And that's when I realized, we could make more of these and we could help parents. Like I was in a really bad spot for 6 months. And I knew what it was like to be in a great spot because my first 3 kids slept reasonably well. And I loved motherhood for their 3, 0 to 6. And with Luke, I truly hated it. And so I knew the joy and I knew kind of the other side of not sleeping. And I just thought like we could help so many moms that I know are in the same spot. This is something we just have to get out into the world. So that's how the company started.
Wow. What a great story. And I want to talk to you more about that because you were on Shark Tank. And I know that was a big part of your story too. But I want to get into this balance issue. And I always like to say, as a mom of 3, and I worked wacky hours for many, many years. And now I'm just trying to fit my work into hours. And that's a whole nother issue that hours of the day I don't have anymore because I'm working at the kids' school and volunteering and everything else. How do you advise people as a working mom, a business owner of a nice big business now of 4? Let's talk about this notion of balance. I don't think it exists. I don't think there is balance. I think we learn to manage being a mom and a professional. But let's get into your tips for that. I know you've got some.
I would definitely agree with that. You're always going to have the mom guilt. I have friends who don't work and they feel guilty they're not contributing or using their talents. I have friends that do work and they're guilty that they're not with their kids as much. So it's, I think it's women something we carry. But I would say for me, my best hack has been compartmentalizing and whatever I'm doing it 100%. So when I am working, my kids do not come into my office and I do work from home. They know they're not allowed in here, which sounds really harsh, but if not, they'd be coming in and out all day long as soon as they come home from school.
Yeah.
But then when I do shut off work, I don't have my phone with me. I'm not looking at emails. I have for myself and my entire team a no working weekend policy. So Saturday through Sunday night, I don't want to see an email from anyone. I'm not looking at my email. And I really want everybody to take that time to spend with their families because we do, myself, my entire team, I would say pretty much everybody works about 12 hours a day. I mean, it's a pace that we probably can't all keep long term, but for now, just getting started, it's pretty necessary as we grow and add more people. But I ask a lot of them during the week, and the trade-off is like when you're off, and nobody's going to expect you unless it's a crisis, the website is down, somebody's going to text our e-commerce guy. But outside of that, like there should be no reason. So really compartmentalizing and then setting kind of those guidelines. Monday through Thursday, I work until 7 every night. And since I'm home, I just roll out of my office and I will do like the bedtime routine with my kids. We spend about an hour and a half together at night with my husband, my family. And then on Fridays, I always end at 5. And then we do like a family activity Friday night. And then all weekend, I'm completely off. So I feel like I'm able to really get all my work done and then also be with the kids, but totally separate.
And not feel guilty about that. I mean, I'm guilty of letting the work bleed into the weekends because the list never stops, right?
Yep.
I mean, like you have these lists and you're like, well, maybe I can just get a few of these things in. You end up working all day Saturday and you're not getting that family time. So how did you determine that that was how you were going to manage this with the new business?
So for the first 2 years of the business, I did not draw a salary at all. I didn't pay myself. And so what we had come up with in our family is that my husband's income or salary would go toward the household. So the mortgage, the water bill, the trash, I mean, just basic stuff. And then I would really pay for any extra things. So childcare, kids' sports, vacations, dinners out, things like that, the more luxuries in life. And so because I wasn't making money, if you will, I still was watching. My job was to watch the kids. They're really, when we looked at our finances, it was like, well, we either pay the mortgage or pay a nanny. Like there's no money. If you're not bringing in money, we need you to watch the kids. So that was really tough because I was waking up at 5 a.m. and I was working from 5 to 8. And then from 8 to 8:30, I'd get him ready and I'd drop him off at school. And then I'd pick him up at 2:30. And that was a really, really hectic year for us. And I did feel like a lot of times because we didn't have a nanny after school, like sometimes I'd be trying to get work in and they'd be calling me and this was 2 years ago. So they were all, 2 years younger than they are now. My baby was home with me all day. So I tried to work while he was sleeping. And that just felt crazy. So then I did work on Saturdays and Sundays when my husband was home because that would be a time I could work, or I'd work at night when he was home. So I basically spent no time with him. But what I realized was working 7 days a week, it never gave me a rest. And I just was constantly felt like I was on this hamster wheel. Yeah. So then I decided I hired a couple people. So it took a lot off my plate. And at that point I was like, I am going to be off on the weekends. Like I'm going to dedicate all weekends to my kids and my husband and just family stuff. And so it wasn't really until I could hire people that I could make that decision. But I did recognize like I was burnt out. Like I could feel it. Like, Monday would come and I would just like dread getting out of bed. Now Monday comes and I'm like, I'm refreshed. I had all weekend off. Like I can't wait to hit the ground running and, get this going.
I love that. So compartmentalize. That's great, great tips. However, I heard you say about a couple of other things for people thinking of a side job or starting a new job. And that is that you do have to sacrifice, but it can't be forever.
Yes, yes. I think there has to be an endpoint because like there was no way I could keep up that pace. And even now, I'm like 12 hours a day is a lot. Like I don't know that I or my team can keep up this pace either. And I look at this like this is probably for one more year and then we'll be in a spot financially where we can hire more people so everybody can work more normal, 9 to 5 versus 7 to 7 with no lunch.
So have an end date, have the goal, and know if you're sacrificing or 12 hours a day, whatever it is, that can't be forever. You have to set the goals.
And I think
That's great.
taking a vacation too. And if you are starting a business and you don't have extra money, it doesn't have to be a vacation to Hawaii. It can be just a day at the beach, or if you live, a hike or like whatever it is, but just setting aside saying like, okay, on Wednesday, September 30th, like I'm going to take this day off. Or like I'm going to take that Friday off and make it a long weekend where you get that extra kind of recharge out of your, a lot of times, even when we are home on the weekends, we're still working around the house and we're doing laundry and like we're doing stuff like that. But for me, vacations are really where, and again, it doesn't have to be like lavish. It can be anything. It doesn't even have to be in a hotel, but that's where I'm out of my working zone of my home office and my house. So I think that's been really helpful. And then the other thing is having a morning routine. That for me is so important. I wake up every day at 6:30. I have this like green shot I take in the morning, and then I drink a tea that has like a little energy thing in it, my collagen. So it's just my ritual of my morning. And I listen to, so we're members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so I'll always listen to a conference talk every morning, which is usually just something spiritual and really uplifting while I'm brushing my teeth and taking a quick shower and, making my morning tea. And so I just kind of have this, nobody's awake. It's like my time before my day gets rolling. And then I have my first call every day at 7. But it gives me I take like literally 5 minute shower in the morning. And so I have about 20 minutes where I'm just kind of like methodically moving through my day and I'm like setting myself up for success
Yeah,
for the day. I
I
have
think
my
that's so
calendar.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of like looking, okay, kids have this today. So the
And
morning routine is
routines
important.
are so good. And sometimes they're
Yeah.
really hard to establish, but having that routine every day sets you up for success. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, so I want to hear the Shark Tank story. I know people love these stories. I know yours is a great one and your business is growing, but how did that help launch you?
Oh my gosh, it made all the difference in the world. I remember before I even had a like final prototype, I had created a business plan, and under my investor section, I had put a couple of the sharks, and I was like, I'm not sure who it's going to be, but it'll be somebody. And I remember my husband saying, "This is a very scary business plan. Please don't actually present this to anybody because you can't put that they're going to be your investor." This was before I'd even reached out to. I just knew I was going to be on the show. And so there's an application and it's literally one paragraph and you just apply. And it's after I applied, I was like, oh, I'm not going to get picked. It's like 2 sentences. It almost says nothing about you. There's nothing to say. And so I did that, but then I was shocked because I got a call from the executive producers. And at first I almost thought this was some kind of joke, but we talked through and they're like, we love the product. Like you have a crazy story. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a TV show. So if you have a personal story attached to it is better, obviously, but it is a real investment opportunity. So they want good products. They're not just going to put on junky Me Too products. We have a patent pending on our product for a utility patent. So it's like an invention. So he loved everything. And then we got matched up with a assistant producer and you do about 2 months of work before you actually fly to LA. And then we were on like the ABC lot. Truly, like I was a movie star for one day, like for one day of my life, for sure. And they did the hair and the makeup, and there's the buffet of the food, and you can talk with the sharks, and it was surreal for sure. And yeah, and then we went on, and what they don't show is I was in there for about an hour and a half, even though they only show a 10-minute clip. And it was so much fun. They were all so nice. We had just barely launched in September and I went on 3 weeks later. So they didn't have anything to really beat me up on numbers wise. So it was very positive and uplifting and we had a great time. Lori invested. She's my dream shark. So that was an incredible moment. But yeah, I mean, it was magic. Like truly a dream come true.
And how's the company doing now? Like I did a episode on sleep for adults and it was it still is one of the most listened to episodes of my podcast. It's podcast number 3 if anybody wants to go listen to it, because after years for me of getting up in the middle of the night, I realized my health was deteriorating. And I have to think the same, first of all, for a parent who's not sleeping because they have a baby that's not sleeping, and for babies too, like they need to sleep. So how's the business doing, and what sleep advice do you have for people who are struggling?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a biological need. If we think about it, it's, sleeping and eating. Those are really the two things that make us live, right? And it's crazy how much women, I think oftentimes we want to fall on the cross and say, oh, I'll be up all night with my baby and I won't ask for help from my husband. And, this will go on for a year. I mean, we have women reaching out saying, you saved my life. I've been up, 3 times in the night for the last 18 months. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a long time. But sleep is possible for babies. And like you said, it is something they need. I mean, my son for those first 6 months was just colicky and
Hmm.
crying, and he was developing definitely normally, but everything was a struggle for him. And he was just always upset. And then when he started sleeping, it was like he was a whole new kid, smiley, eating better, like gaining weight better. He was at one point at, I think, 4 to 10% of weight. And that shot up after he was sleeping because everything just for him was going better. Same thing. I mean, it is a biological need for
Yeah.
sleep. There was a study that just came out, and I'm trying to think of which magazine it was, like a major publication, but it was a study at UCLA, and it looked at women who and I'm going to totally butcher this, but it was something like didn't get sleep for those first year, how they aged biologically 7 years
Oh my
older than
goodness.
women.
Yeah,
I
I
know. And
believe
I'm
it.
like, oh, I have 4 kids. I'm
Ah.
like 80 now. So yes, it's definitely really impactful on sleep. Our biggest tip, what I would say for the mom who's listening and they're like, I'm here, I'm not sleeping, I'm in the same spot, it would be to put your baby to bed in their crib alone. Like I have talked with hundreds of sleep consultants, and that's always the number one, because oftentimes we nurse to sleep, we rock to sleep, bottle feed to sleep, hug to sleep, whatever that is. And then we put baby in the crib and we kind of do that ninja roll away. And then when baby wakes up in the middle of the night, they are looking for that same
Yeah.
stimulation
Yeah.
to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So then when you wake up at 2 a.m. and you say they will only go back to bed if they are fed, well, that is how they learned to fall asleep in the first
Yeah.
place. So if we can get baby awake in their crib, sleeping, and then use something like Dreamland Baby, where it's a sleep association. So when my son was 6 months old, we started using it. And I would say within a week or two, when he saw that sleep sack during the day, especially, he would start crying because he knew it was time for a nap. Like
Yeah.
our babies are smart. And so
Yeah.
they have this sleep association and they will know, okay, the sleep sack is on, the windows are down, the room is dark, the crib is bare. Maybe I hear the sound machine. I'm laying down in my crib. It is time for me to learn to go to sleep. So if you have a baby that's not a super tough sleeper, just a regular sleep sack is fine. If you have a baby who wants to be held or rocked to sleep and needs a little bit of that extra stimulation, I would definitely say ours, of course. Super, super helpful for that type of baby. I mean, I think every baby can benefit from it, but we see those dramatic sleep
Yeah.
stories when it's babies like my son who want that. They want to be held to sleep, which is a lot of babies, right? And so, getting the sleep sack on, getting them in the crib and just shutting the door and, cry it out or not. Some people are more sensitive to that. Let them cry for a minute. But if you don't want to let them cry at all and you do want to go back in, looking over the crib and patting and soothing baby without again picking them up. So they know once I'm in, it is time for me to be able to sleep on my
And
own.
self-soothing, as you said, they know how
Yourself.
to put themselves to sleep without relying on you. And I also just heard you say what you talked about in your successful day, which was a routine, and having
Yes.
that routine of turn the
Yes.
lights down or close the window or rock for a minute and read a book, but then self-soothe. Like just routines are so important. And I know they're
Yeah.
hard. Like I'm a mom and I sometimes want to break from my routine. I go, nope, I need the routine in the morning, at night.
Yes.
It's so important.
That's absolutely right. And if you're really truly going all in with sleep training and you take it a step further, then you start really getting routine. Like it is 10 o'clock. I am home, my baby's in their bed. But for me, I mean, 4 kids, my third and fourth definitely were just sleeping as they could, on the way to carpool, on the way to sports. So it's not always realistic that you can have it exactly like that. But even if you can try to do it at night, there's so many like sleep tip hacks. We have on our Instagram, once a month, we do like a sleep consultant takeover, and everybody can ask their questions. And then we have the sleep consultant come on and answer them. And we have like a bunch of tiles that's saved in our blog too. We have a ton of sleep stuff. If somebody's looking for like a sleep resource, we can, all that.
Fantastic. Yep. That was something I was going to ask you too, is where people could get more information. Yeah. So I have a couple of questions I like to ask all of my guests. The first one, just learning from you, it sounds like you've got routines figured out with so many kids and owning a business. What's your favorite tool for productivity?
Okay. When we first talked, I was thinking Slack, because that is what my team uses. But I just discovered the Cozy app. It's COZI. And I have our nanny, my husband, and myself on it, because I have 3 kids who are all in multiple sports every week, and Girl Scouts and school, and there's half-day schools. So like every week the schedule is changing. And then we can also drop in like what we want. Is she going to make dinner? Am I going to make dinner? Who's making it? What are we buying? What do we need? There's like grocery. It's an amazing app.
Is it a task app, like managing tasks?
It's kind of similar to Slack, but it has almost like a calendar, and then you can put in notes. You can assign different people stuff. So I could put my husband like, go grocery shopping, make sure you pick up apples or whatever we would need for dinner. And then there's reminders on there, and you can schedule it out for the year. It's awesome.
Cozy. Okay. I'm going to check that one out. Yep. Always an app that I'm going to need. I know, anything that helps. Okay. And then my next question, and I think we develop over time with this, but what have you found at this stage of your life is your purpose? Have you found it, and what is it?
My purpose, and we just had a team meeting and we talked about this a little bit, but when I look at my life and my business and like what I do and what I enjoy, it's developing other people. So I don't love the creative at Dreamland Baby. I love growing the team and then empowering that team to become managers to then empower other people. And I always tell my team, I want you to come a caterpillar and leave a butterfly. If that is, you're here for a year or you ride this out until we get sold. I want you to leave this company and say, I'm my best self. I'm so much better than I was before I came. And same thing with my kids. Like they're always like, okay, mom, like I'm always teaching them like, okay, when you take a shower, you want to really scrub in with the shampoo, but the conditioner, and here's what, like, they're like, okay, whatever. Like I'm always trying to give them teaching moments and just, little things about like being kind and, all those things. And that I just love like teaching other people, I guess, mentoring.
I love that. That's so good. And come a caterpillar and leave a butterfly. I'm going to think about that, because you're right. And everywhere that we go and everyone that we touch and see and work with. Well, where can people find more information? You mentioned your Instagram, website. Tell them where they can find you.
So our Instagram is Dreamland Baby Co. And we're super active on there. Come try to find us on TikTok. We are trying to be active there. We have somebody on our team manages it. She does an amazing job, but give us a follow. And the website is dreamlandbabyco.com. And we have a chat bot on there. So if there's any sizing questions, our customer service team is amazing. Or even like sleep questions, we have a whole roster of sleep experts that we can get, questions returned to you. So those are our main places.
Sounds like I know exactly what my next baby gift is going to be. I love what you're doing. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's great to talk to you. Thanks for the advice, and look forward to talking again soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining the Natalie Tisdall podcast. You can follow along on Instagram and at natalietisdall.com. Subscribe to the show to catch every new episode and leave a review so I can continue to bring you fresh content. See you next week.